here we are at the Oil Council in Paris, where the focus is on Africa. And one of the great economic success stories of Africa, perhaps one that's not widely known about, is Equatorial Guinea. It's one of the smallest countries, but in fact has got the highest GDP of any African nation and is the third largest oil producer. Well, we'll get an update on how things are going and their long-term plan from the Oil and Gas Minister, Gabriel Obiang, Lima. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, it is a remarkable success story because, in a sense, from limited resources, you actually created a very successful economy. You had if you like, a long-term plan, Horizon 2020, to, get the economy self-sustaining beyond oil. How is that going?
Well, that's going very good. Well, like everybody, the oil price should be, I would like it to be better than it is. But I have to say that the main reason that we have been very successful is that we were the last one in the neighborhood having oil. So our biggest advantage was that we saw what our neighbors did with oil. So when we started our industry, we were able to pick up, like a grape, the good ones, avoiding the bad. That has been. The other one is we have been focusing on utilizing to the maximum our resources. Not just thinking about crude oil, but thinking about utilizing the gas. And we have been done a very good job. We have diversified our industry. Of course, with the current situation right now, we have adjustment. And I used to be a minister that everybody likes me because I was bringing oil. Right now, nobody wants to talk with me. They're very upset with me. They think it's my fault. But clearly, we have to keep going. We have to keep going. We do believe that we have done very good in the exploration. We have been doing very good attracting company. We have been very good regarding processing, even downstream. We have a methanol plant, we have an LNG plant, we have the oil production. Recently we have a PSC signed by ExxonMobil, by sign and ratify. And clearly that's a very important sign because it's a company like ExxonMobil decide that they want to have a PSC in a country so that they have prospectivity. Clearly, we need to continue. It is not just about producing oil, it's about making sure that the population and everybody enjoy it. Now, we have been clearly, because of our limitation of both our surface but also population, we have been more efficient. It doesn't mean that we are the best. We have been doing things, watching what the others done. Have been doing mainly Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon, and that has been our secret. We haven't done anything special. We just have been focused on making sure not to repeat the mistakes.
And also, you've changed your strategy in a way. You're moving from oil very much more to gas. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, the thinking is that yes, oil is good, they have quick, but gas have more direct impact to the population. For example, with the gas, you can provide electricity. With the gas, you can do ammonia, urea, fertilizer, mixing it with phosphate. With the gas, you can actually provide more electricity to the country. With the gas, you can actually even transfer it. That's what we're doing to CNG, so you can use it in buses and you reduce that. So actually, gas have a greater utilization than oil in Equatorial Guinea. The other reason is that the majority of the fields in Equatorial Guinea, in our region, are gas prone. So we have more reserve of gas than oil. And then we keep asking ourselves, how come the Asian countries like Korea, Japan, China, the rest, are using a lot of our gas, and we ourselves, don't have the electricity, we have the fertilizer, we are not using it in country. So we focus from the beginning, not to just focus on producing the oil, but to also have a plan of development that we can use the gas. With the gas, we have built the biggest methanol plant in Africa. With the gas, we have built the fastest built LNG plant in the world. With LNG, with the gas, we are actually building a CNG installation for buses. So we do believe that there is more benefit for the population using the gas. At the same time, we do believe that in the future, and this is what everybody is seeing, gas is having a very prominent and important part in the oil.
Yeah, and it's. But you point out that you want to actually make sure that the gas is also being used in country to develop the economy. So that means that although you want to export, you want to sell the gas, not at any price, because you have got a deal with British Gas, which has been negotiated for some time. There seems to be a bit of a sticking point here because Shell is now coming on the scene, and as I understand it, you don't like what they're doing. Why?
Well, the issue is the following. We do recognize that British Gas took a risk British Gas was with us from day one with Marathon, Marubeni, and Mitsui, and the government. Now, when this transaction happened, we do have some reservations. The reservations are sovereignty matters. And for that reason, we believe by beginning of next year, we will not allow any future Shell cargoes because it have a direct impact for us. That's something that we'll deal with them, but clearly they need to be aware that differently in the British Gas, Shell is not welcome in Equatorial Guinea. Not because they don't do, Shell is a very good company, it works in Nigeria, it works in another country, but it have an issue with Equatorial Guinea that is very important that is solved before we can allow them that they can continue with this very lucrative contract that British Gas had in Equatorial Guinea.
Yeah. So if that doesn't work out, who else are you going to sell the gas to?
Well, there is a lot of people that we can sell. Of course, we want to talk with them. We want to discuss exactly how they're going to be working, solve those issues that we do believe that are very serious matter that we cannot allow. But clearly, there's a lot of sellers. But at the same time, we want to be a good host. We want to make sure that the industry know that Equatorial Guinea is a good place. And we have companies like ExxonMobil, Marathon Oil. So it's not a sign to say that, no, Equatorial Guinea is kicking the companies out. That's not the case. But when we have sovereignty matters that can have direct impact on the interests of the state, we do have to act on it. And that's something that we'll deal with Shell. And the same thing that countries like China or the United States have regulators that they need to go the process. We do also have regulators that we cannot allow that. In the meantime, we do believe that Equatorial Guinea can utilize a lot of the gas. We are doing it right now with the CNG. We want to take LNG to do power. And we keep asking ourselves one question. How can countries like Korea, Japan, China, even the Europe are using a lot of the gas? They use it for electricity, they use it for buses. How can Africa, we need a lot of electricity, we need a lot of gas, how come we don't use it? And right now, everybody's thinking about building a regasification plant. Senegal is thinking about it, Ghana is thinking about it, South Africa is thinking about it. Now we think, if Equatorial Guinea is a small country, we get our act together, and we actually get huge amount of gas, our gas, but other gas, and build a regasification plant for power on the rest. From Equatorial Guinea, because of the geographical location, we can actually export electricity and even in the future, supply of CNG so it can be used in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And also what you're doing, is, and I think which is very clever, is it's not just exporting the gas and the oil, but it's also exporting expertise. I mean, I think, you know, you're some time ago you said we want to be the Singapore of Africa. In other words, you're exporting expertise, support expertise,
yes,
to surrounding countries. How's that going?
Well, that's going very good. For example, we have a very good relationship with Mozambique. That it's a country that have a lot of gas discovery. Mozambique is going through that process of evaluating what do they want to do. Now, the key thing that we have been explaining and encouraging a lot of the African countries is to understand that the money in the gas business, the LNG business, is not done in the selling of the LNG, it's done on the burning of the gas. So what you want to do, you have to be going to the added value. It's not the gas that you sell. You need to sell the electricity. The power plant that is sold, the gas, that's the key thing. And that's example that we have learned from Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. We have a very good relationship with Trinidad when we started the LNG. And they advise us, it's very important that you understand that you can generate more revenue to the added value. And this is through electricity, other ones, than actually just selling the gas.
Yeah. So, of course, the strategy of a post-oil, post-gas world seems to be doing very well.
Correct.
Just one final point. I know you've got elections next year. You've had your president in place for nearly 50 years. That's a long time. He's overseen considerable growth in the economy. People may be concerned that, well, actually, that's rather a long time. Is it that democratic?
Yeah.
Is the governance sufficiently transparent?
I do believe so. We do believe so. We are very happy about the development. The biggest problem that a lot of people take is that they don't evaluate where was Equatorial Guinea and where is Equatorial Guinea right now. The best example is Singapore. You have the Prime Minister Lancashire, who was from that stage in which Singapore have nothing. And where is Singapore today? Now, the same thing happened with Equatorial Guinea. It has been 30 years. President Obiang has been doing a very good job. Everybody in Africa, everybody realizing the amazing job of development that that country, that was the poorest country in Africa, have gone to today, one of the key producers, one of the highest GDP, like you have said, in Africa. Now, the key thing that we have done is that recently, 5 years ago, we have a constitutional change. His Excellency decided that we cannot have president for life. What we have to have is president with terms. So he encouraged that we have a 2 mandate. Now, he have already done his first mandate. He definitely is presenting for the next mandate. And clearly for that mandate, we will support him because we believe they have done a very good job. But definitely will be his last mandate. That's something that we do believe is very important. We have gone through the process on evaluation because you have to remember this has been a country that have nothing. Our former colonies in Spain left no university, no doctors, nothing. So we need to start from scratch of the development of governments. The governments have to create the parliament. The parliament needs to create the Senate. So right now you have an array of individuals who used to be ministers, who went to the parliament, and now they are senators. So there are people who really evaluate. Right now, as a minister, my life is so difficult now. It used to be very easy. I can just mandate something, give it to the president, mandate. Now I need to approve it from my colleagues, the ministers. From there, I need to defend it in the parliament. When I finish to the parliament, I need to defend it in the Senate. And I can tell you, those guys, even though they're in the same party, they're not very nice. So I need to make sure that I do my work. So clearly, those check and balance have been done in the government to make sure that the government does this properly. Of course, at this current year, the biggest issue that oil producing countries have was the drop of the oil. One of the things that we did immediately was to take measures. Because when you have a problem that you need to cut measures, and those measures we take it, and probably Equatorial Guinea will be one of the first producing African country that actually will come out of this problem on liquidity because of the measures that we took immediately at the beginning of this year.
Right. Okay. Gabriel, Obiang, Lima, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.